Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Get in the Herd, a recovery podcast brought to you by the McShin Foundation. My name is Alex Bond. Guests I have today are Cindy and Ashley. How are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Doing great.
Welcome, welcome. This is a recovery podcast. I'm a person in recovery from substance use disorder. Cindy, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
All right. My name is Cindy. I'm a woman in long-term recovery from substance use disorder, which means I have not used any substance or alcohol since June 3rd of 2019. And this program is totally gave me hope for a better lifestyle.
That is awesome. Awesome stuff. Ashley.
My name is Ashley, and I am in long-term recovery, which means that to me, I haven't had to use any mind-altering substances in 82 days, actually. And I have actually been down here and learned how to be an adult. And that's something I haven't done before. And it's just been a really positive experience for me.
That's awesome. So what does being adult mean to you exactly?
Taking responsibility for my own actions.
Stop it.
And just, I don't know, like not being that person that I was when I wasn't being an adult and expecting other people to take care of me and realize that like I have to take care of myself.
Taking personal responsibility, not an easy thing to learn without a couple attempts at not being able to do that. So, you two ladies have been here for about 2 months now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And so I think maybe 3 months ago, they changed our women's program here at McShin to all those listening, moved the program out to the Chesterfield house, made it the women's house. And now all the intensive women in the program stay at that house and do groups at that house and pretty much get to know each other on a more intimate level without all the distractions here at the foundation. Has that been y'all's experience?
Yes.
Correct.
What has that been like for you?
It was, well, for me, I came out of incarceration, so I was kind of in a routine. For some of the girls, it was a little harder having to do chores and clean. And of course, coming into a house of all women, we all are kind of, nobody wants to be around other women, but we start getting along with each other and we rely on each other. And it turns out to be a great experience.
That's cool. So you actually think that your experience of being incarcerated prior to coming in put you at an advantage?
Yeah, I would say so, because I worked the whole time I was incarcerated. So I had a routine. I got up, worked. So I was, probably a little bit like on routine. So it didn't really upset me as it did some. So
yeah, because everyone's used to the freedom of the outside world
absolutely.
And the distractions.
And then when they come into intensive, it's like you've got rules to abide by. You have to go to bed. You have to get up. You have chores. No telephone. So it's definitely a change for what they're used to, what everybody's used to anyway.
Yeah, and I can imagine that there are definitely some people who are more insubordinate toward that. You can't tell me what to do. Yeah. I don't have to follow these rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're incorporated, it kind of humbles you to the point of like, oh, I'm so bad at following rules that I think I can do it for this designated point in time. What are your thoughts on it? Is that kind of similar to your experience?
Well, mine was different because I came from off the street.
Okay.
And then it was crazy because I never would have thought that I wanted to live in a house with women. And it was just mind-boggling. But then it helped me realize that I need to have women in my life that I can talk to, because I can't have regular conversations about tough stuff with guys. And she was my roommate, and I would
beautiful.
Yeah, I never would have got through it without her. And it's been a really good experience.
So being able to connect with women, that's a major foundation to the women's program is what I hear.
Yes.
Being able to be vulnerable and communicate, follow rules. I also know that there are some unique things that go on over there. Maybe some more health and wellness, mindfulness,
Yes.
like yoga, maybe some
Yeah.
nutritional stuff. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that a little bit, Cindy?
Well,
I'm kind of foreign to that idea.
they were when we had started doing meditation, which was really
Cool.
good, on a lady's podcast, and she had some really good stuff. And of course, they were still in progress of working on our exercise room, so that was kind of I'm sure it's better now because I think they were almost done when we left. But yeah, we had Honesty was coming out doing yoga with us. So yeah, some really good stuff going on.
That's awesome.
That helps a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
More than what people realize.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that routine helps people think I got to wake up, sit in groups, and then go to more groups, and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
throwing something that's still helpful, but not exactly like listening to a lecture or a class can kind of take you out of your element, just like the real world. Like being able to pick and choose how you can sponge and siphon information is really cool. So you both have already transitioned into a step-up house?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
So what exactly has the differences? Have you found it more complicated, easier? What's your experience with that been
It's
like,
definitely
Ashley?
been more complicated, and
Yeah.
it was almost like a culture shock because like out in Chesterfield, everything was planned out. Like you knew what you were going to do. Like it was a set routine, and then to transition into the step up house, and it was like I had more freedom, and then like, okay, I have to actually go get a job and go pay my bills. And that's where like the adulting thing came in, to be like, okay, you've got to take care of your own stuff. And like, this is what normal people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big culture shock. And I had to talk to my sponsor about it, because I was like, I don't know how to handle this. And it was hard, but luckily everybody here have somebody to reach out to and talk to about it.
No, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like one of the harder things that I see people continuously do in the men's and women's program is hit that 28 days and then go back out, into the real world. Maybe not even like go back out on the streets performing the exact same behaviors, but just graduating the 28 days and then going back to what might be toxic environments and trying to use the tools that they used. And it's going to be a lot harder without that in between step. It's going to be a lot more complicated. I also know that you guys you two ladies have been doing some like art and recovery class.
Yes.
How's that been? Because that again is one more thing that they kind of like throw against the wall. Some people might be, I'm not good at art, so I'm not going to like this. I mean, how has that been for y'all's recovery, you think?
For me, it works a lot because I'm not really good at writing. Like it blows my mind sometimes to sit down and write. So like to be able to paint was to let that feelings out, and that I couldn't really talk to somebody about, or till I could talk to somebody about it, it would help to just paint. And then like I was able to give some of my paintings away, like when somebody was having a bad day, and like you see like that makes somebody happy, and it's just a positive thing.
That's cool. I also feel like it's a way to get in touch with other people in a different medium too.
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of times people just they just fear the unknown, and doing stuff, out of your comfort zone always is good, because you just don't realize, it's okay to do crafts. It's okay to do art, and express yourself. Because I actually did a spirit stick, and I am so proud of it. I took it home and showed it to my niece and nephew, and they thought it was awesome. So yeah. It's cool to do stuff like that.
Being able to make something that you're proud of.
Exactly.
Like I rarely did that when I was prior to recovery, as I would, go to work, move on. And I wasn't exactly proud of a lot of stuff. I couldn't look at something and say like, I did that.
Exactly.
I'm proud of it.
I know, right.
And
it's
it's part
finished
of
it.
who I am.
Actually
And
finished it.
Yeah.
Completed it. Started at the beginning and took it all the way to the end.
No, that's a very fair
huge.
point. Yeah. So since moving into the new house, how have you been able to occupy your time? Since your days aren't scheduled for you anymore, how have you been able to fill in these slots in the days, pay bed fees and stuff like that, while still, striving on your recovery journey?
Well, we come to the church a lot. We still do a lot of the sessions, trying to help with the newcomers. I actually will start work on Monday. So I'm stepping up to another phase and being in recovery. I'm actually going back to work. So I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting.
Yeah, that is.
Does it create some nervousness and anxiety at the same time? I would imagine.
Because as we were talking earlier, in active addiction, I was never on time, and now I am on time, and that makes me feel so good about myself. So I'm really excited about being able to go to work and be on time and prove to people that I still got it. So
have there been any certain struggles that you might not have expected, or something that you did expect, and it's not, that is a word that I try not to use as often, but are there certain barriers that you might not have seen coming since moving into maybe a step up house, or just being here in general?
Well, so I knew that I had to, being here at the church was my safe place. And when I was struggling when I first came and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was uncomfortable with being not out at Chesterfield, and this was my safe place, and this is where I came until I got comfortable. And then, because it was weird, not seeing people every day that I was living with for the past month. And then it's a whole bunch of new people, and it just made me really uncomfortable. But now I've become a little more outgoing and more positive, and just more adventurous a little bit, but in a good way, not in the way that I used to be. But the struggles have been trying to be accountable and stay doing the next right thing. I've played the tape out more. I don't want to go back to where I went to an intensive house. I just want to stay, accomplish things like I am. I'm starting stuff and finishing it, and I have stuff to be proud of now.
And finding that balance of continuing to do the things that you were doing, coming to the church, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of people get in a mindset of, I go to a transition house and now I should be working all the time and doing all this outside stuff now that I have this freedom, and are almost think it's regressing if you're doing the same stuff again. But I think it's more than healthy. I think it's better for me personally if I'm continuously still hanging around the people that I came in with and communicating with.
Working on yourself.
Exactly.
Keep working on yourself.
While doing new things, going to work. And can you actually elaborate on how you helped the newcomer? Because I remember you just said that, both of y'all. I see y'all interacting with the new groups of women. And what does that look like to you?
Well, when they're coming in, we know how they feel. They're scared. They're a little lost. And just reaching out to them and saying, hey, my name is, if you need anything, if you want to talk about anything, we're here. Of course, when they first come in, using the telephone is a little hard. But, we just let them know, we're here to help you. We're here to, carry you, help get you through this. It's, you don't have to be afraid to ask and to reach out. So, I think that's one of the biggest parts about it. It's just letting people know. Don't be afraid. We help. We're here to help.
We've all been through it.
Absolutely. So
and do what you need, even despite the fear. That's what courage is. Is it's doing what needs to be done despite the fear, not in absence of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared a lot more often to do certain things, but I still got to do what I got to do, and just swallow my pride a lot of times.
That's right.
That's
just humble yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for us to humble ourselves is hard, but you have to. I mean, and then, it goes back to the fact that if it's something that you question or you're in fear of, somebody else is probably going through the same feeling. So, 9 times out of 10, you're going to talk to somebody that has been through what you've been through, knows how you feel, and can give you some pointers on how to, work through things. So.
That's one of the biggest things that has helped me in this process is I thought I didn't relate to anybody. I would used to go to NA meetings where I was from, and nobody would come up and talk to me. Nobody would say anything, and I'd just be sitting there by myself. But being down here and actually talking to people and opening up to people, Like so many women that I've talked to have gone through the exact same thing that I've gone through. And it's made it so much easier, and it makes me be able to relate to them and be like, okay, like you can do this. Like you're building stuff up and you're getting it, and I can do it too. And that's one major difference in my recovery this time, is that I relate to people and I see other people doing it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I was explaining that yesterday to some dudes, is that like I've never felt anything that no one's ever felt before.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has dealt with whatever I'm dealing with now at any point in time. So I think that's really cool. And to Robert, who asked how are step-up houses funded. So I don't know, ladies, y'all pay your bed fees, right?
Yeah.
So like everyone in a step-up house pays a certain amount financially a week. And so that's how they stay in the house. And then sometimes, the McShin Foundation gets like a SAMHSA grant or donations. And a lot of the times it can just be out of pocket to fund the actual houses, to answer your question, Robert. One other really cool thing that I think was a huge advantage to you two ladies in helping the newcomer and helping with this transition and being as open-minded as I think you two are, was I had the great fortune of having y'all in recovery coach training class.
Yeah.
That I thought y'all were excellent at. It was a real treat. And I think y'all put a lot of effort into it. Do you think that was an advantage? I think it was, but I kind of want to know maybe in what sort of facet, what you took away from it that helps you out a little bit.
It definitely was an advantage. Like because I did it my first weekend here, and I was like, this is crazy.
Whoa.
Like, what are you talking about? But I wasn't a good listener. And one of the major things that I took from that was like, you have to actively listen to somebody. Yeah. And like, you can't help somebody if you're not listening to them. And then it was like, okay, I appreciate more when somebody listens to me, and then like listening to somebody else. And like, you actually do hear what somebody's going through. And you like, sometimes somebody just wants to talk and like, you don't have to be a fix it all for somebody. Like you can just be there and listen to somebody. Like, and that was one of the biggest things that I took from it. And it helped me also realize like everybody here at McShin, like that's a hard thing to do, to like be a recovery coach and to listen every day to see all the people that you probably see or interact with. And like, it just gave me another sense of appreciation and gratitude that there's actually people here that care enough to sit there and spend their days doing this. And it made me appreciate the process more and made me want to work harder.
That's cool. No, I think that's like, listening is still a hard thing that I struggle with, because I want to fix the problem every time. I want to hear what someone has to, maybe rightfully complain about, figure out a solution, and then implement it, just as our COO, Jesse Wysocki, says in those 3 steps. But a lot of the times people just want to feel heard in any sort of capacity. And I know that I even have a problem with, waiting for someone to stop speaking so I can say what I have to say instead of responding accurately to what they're talking about.
Exactly.
What were kind of some of your takeaways from that training, Cindy, that you try to implement?
Well, I agree with Ashley a whole lot. Just listen, because I mean, everybody's going through something, and just giving them that voice to be able to talk about what they have going on or what they have questions about. But another thing I got from it is the actual peer recovery, us working with each other, because some people don't feel comfortable when it's the clinical therapists and the counselors, and just being in maybe a better comfort zone with knowing, hey, this person actually gets what I'm talking about because they've been through it too,
and has dealt with what I'm dealing with, as we were talking about.
And you're not blowing smoke up their butt, so to say, because you are being real about it. You do know, because you've been through it.
No, that's a great point as well. I feel like there's always this interesting like power dynamic when you're dealing with a therapist or a counselor or something a little more clinical versus a peer support model. Sure, there's going to be some sort of hierarchy sometimes, but a lot of the times it's everyone who's used before.
Right.
And done stuff that you could look at someone across the room and be like, there's absolutely no way that me and that dude were both homeless or something like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I also wanted to talk about is, that diversity of relationships, being able to look at someone and say, like, that's one of my best friends, and I know that we probably wouldn't have gotten along if it weren't for recovery. Like, would you think you two would have been as close as you are if it weren't for something like this?
Probably not.
Never.
In all honesty,
At all.
and especially being closed minded. But then when you come into a program, you realize you have to be willing and open minded. Have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. Like having all three. I like to be honest to the point of almost like too honest.
Yeah.
But I definitely struggle with the open-minded piece for sure. Do you what sort of pathways to recovery do y'all to practice?
I do NA and then refugee recovery.
Refugee recovery. Can you explain what that is a little bit?
I'm still like getting into the beginning of it, but the part that I really like about it is that like you can't enjoy like the whole suffering part, like, and to get through the suffering, that's how you can enjoy happiness. And that, because there's a lot of stuff in my past, but I can experience the joy and happiness because I know what the suffering feels like. And so it balances it out for me and makes it simple for me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Cindy?
I'm doing the NA.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I've already picked out a sponsor. I have a great sponsor that I really communicate good with. So
yeah, it's tough. When I was here, I kept like shopping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't get one for a very long time because I was waiting for the perfect one.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah.
I as soon as I came, I connected with one of the females that were doing the sessions out at Chesterfield, and I knew right off the bat that was who I wanted, and I went after it. And she just introduced me to her sponsorship family last week. So yeah,
and that's cool. That's one of those other gifts of recovery is the confidence that we get back. I think. Have you been as confident as a person previously before coming here? I mean, you seem like a pretty confident person with who you are.
I thought I was before, but I totally wasn't. Like, I was always like trying to people please, and I could just fit in wherever. But like now, like there's more. I have a higher self-esteem now, like, and I value myself more. And I've learned about protecting myself and putting up boundaries, like especially with when it comes to people in my life and like how much energy I give them, because I can't give away like all my energy and then expect to like be whole myself and be okay. So like I've learned that, okay, like it's okay that I can't give you all this energy and not fix you, like, because I have to fix myself first. And that's like, it's totally changed my point of view, like on my life and myself. And I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't came here. And then like another thing, like talking about the difference between clinical and peer-to-peer, like I wouldn't have paid attention as much if I was in a clinical setting. Like if I didn't know that like everybody here has like done some of the stuff that I've done or probably worse, like I wouldn't have listened to them. But I appreciate it and get it now.
Yeah, it's kind of like I went through this, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of my relationship with my brother. Is he didn't even start drinking until he was like 20 because he saw me throughout my life screwing up and going down the rabbit hole that way. It's interesting how we pay it forward when we don't even think about it sometimes too. So I heard like rumors that there's supposed to be animals at Chesterfield. Have y'all heard anything about this? I've only been out there one time, so I'm still like new to exactly what goes on out there.
Oh yeah, they're supposed to be getting chickens and
alpacas.
Yeah, alpacas.
Straight up pet therapy.
Pet therapy, which I think would be good because I have a little lap dog at my home in Halifax County, and I think animal therapy is some of the best. It works for some, maybe not for others, but yeah, and plus that probably give them some more things for responsibility to build up, that
to take care of them.
Having something responsible for and stuff. So I think it'd be good. Plus, it's a whole lot of property out there that's just sitting. So it probably needs some activity.
Someone needs to use it. Something needs to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of wanted to circle back a little bit to incarceration, because I've been incarcerated. Have you been incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay. So all three of us have been to jail before. I think I didn't want to go there, and it gives me this newfound sense of gratitude. Are you still looking at some jail time in the future at all?
I'm actually sentenced, and my sentence was to come here and finish up my 9 months. I have been in jail for 15 months. So, I got blessed to be able to come here and work on myself and try to be a better person. So, I'm done. I'm done with the court part. So that's done with. Thank goodness.
and I think having that experience is yes, some people are fortunate to have never been to jail before.
Yeah.
But don't know how terrible it is until you actually go there.
And that's something that I share with some people here that have been very fortunate as not to have gotten any criminal charges.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like a big advocate of get yourself some help, get back on life, and don't, you don't want to go down that road, because it just causes more obstacles that you have to overcome to get to a better place. And if you can refrain from going through all that, I mean, I wouldn't, it's just not worth it if you have this opportunity.
No, it's not.
It's just not.
And my sponsor, like, having to go to jail clean, I've been dreading it, and he and he explains it as like, it is something that I can help people. It's an experience that I can help people with who then have to deal with that also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it kind of is a double-edged sword in saying, of course, I don't wish jail upon anyone.
Absolutely.
But at the exact same time, it gives me some perspective on, like, I've seen what I do not want.
Exactly.
Are there like certain other things and experiences in your life that you can kind of look at and know that you don't want to go back that route, so it's kind of an advantage to have that happen to you?
Definitely, because I just don't want to go back to my old life, period. And it's been a little difficult because, like, back home, like, I have my kids there, but I also know, like, I need to be better for my kids. And I know that if I go back home, like, I'm not gonna make the right choices. Like, and because I'm going through my court situation, and I go back in like a couple months, but because I've done so well down here, like, they're going to shave off a year of my probation.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I've been on probation since I was like 18 years old. And like,
that's wild.
Yeah. Like, it's like never happened. Like, like, my probation officer, like, came and got me, like, out of court, and she's like, "I'm just so proud of you." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, like, what are you talking
Probation
about?"
officer said that.
Yeah, like this is not what probation officers say to me. But so I just like, I've never had stuff like that happen to me before, and so, and another thing in the balance side of it, like, I know what it's like to have the other side of it, and now so I can appreciate this side of it so much more, and just, I don't want to go back there, like, and just stay in this moment.
Cool. Staying in the moment is a great idea. I will not, and ask you what's your next move. So what are some of those things that you're looking to do, move forward, and how do you know when it's ready to graduate?
My next move is getting a job. Okay. And so that's my next move. I have a job interview tomorrow, which I'm
good luck. Break your legs.
Yes, thank you. Then, like, my short-term, long-term, whatever goals are, like, I have a goal of, like, an amount of money that I want to save up before I leave out of step-up housing.
It's a great idea.
And so that's going to be, like, my little timeline. So that's where I'm at with that.
What about you, Cindy? How do you know when it's time to move on a little bit?
Well,
because at least for the intensive to the step up, it's like you got 28 days, and then you move on. There's no real decision to be made there.
I'm just day by day. doing the next right thing. So, like I said, I start work on Monday, and right now my goal is to start school at the first of the year while I'm here.
That's cool.
And I'm focused, and I'm doing the right things, and starting stuff and finishing stuff. That's what my plan is, to save the money to start school in January. And it's just a 4-month certification that I'll be working on, but it will be, starting a new career path for me, which I'm totally excited about, because I don't want to go back to the same old stuff.
That's good.
And even with a career, sometimes going back to the same stuff can be a trigger. I mean, because it was just part of my addictive life. And so totally starting a new
That's what I had to do. I did not expect to be here.
Yeah.
Like I had worked in restaurants for like 10 years or something like that, and was like, I am going to go back to that. And it's a volatile environment. It's not this sort of getting into recovery is perspective changing and saying, maybe I don't have to do what I've always been doing.
Right.
And being able to get uncomfortable. It's definitely interesting how our brains have changed even over such like a quick amount of time.
Yeah.
It really feels like. So new job. Now I was going to ask how much money you plan on saving up before you move out.
My goal is $1,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my goal is $1,000.
That's a great goal to have.
Yeah.
I think mine was like, because I've been looking into it and I've been trying to use this last like year as like momentum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you said getting into school and starting school by the first of the year, I hear like being able to use all this forward momentum that we have to do all these different things.
Right.
And that's what I try to do. But at the same time, I feel like I can get burnt out sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you guys prevent that from happening?
I've been learning to do different things, like go to museums down here that are open, but like,
Cool.
and just like doing fun stuff. Like I didn't think you could have fun in recovery at first, but I've totally learned you can. Like, and just trying new things. Like anytime somebody suggests something like going to a park or something, I'll go do that. And it's okay to take time. Like you had a group and you said something like, it's okay to say that I just want to take time and be by myself and watch a movie or something. Like that's me being busy. And like, I started paying attention to that and doing that. And you just got to pay attention to yourself and be aware of yourself and know when, okay, I've done spread myself a little too thin. I got to let it go now. And that's been something that I've really like paid attention to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Self-check and self-care and be able to like evaluate yourself. I feel like I never did that when I was using.
Yeah.
No.
Is that something you do as well, Cindy, is be able to evaluate yourself?
Well, Ashley and I spend a lot of time together because we've started this together and we're traveling down the
now
same
you're in the
path.
trenches together.
But something that we've been doing at the house here recently that I really like is we go to meetings together and then we come home and we cook dinner together.
Yeah.
And we
I like that.
de-stress from the day and kind of share with each other in our private house.
Yeah.
So that's been a big thing that I look forward to every day. And we enjoy our time at the house. Whoever wants to participate can, who don't
like do
don't
a
have
head
to.
count in the group chat.
Yeah.
And
During the day. Who's going to be home for dinner? What are we having? I mean, that's kind
so
of
cool.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing lately. So, yeah.
And that's what I see a lot of successful people in houses do is like a community dinner where everyone's sitting around the table. They can even be BS and having quality time with each other or talking about something serious.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen like successful relationships, whether they're platonic or romantic or whatever, use a lot of quality time together. That's not two people staring at their phones next to each other.
Yeah,
it's two people communicating about anything. And so that's like really warm to hear that you're using this stuff on your own accord when you're not being told to.
Exactly.
In like a routine or anything like that. So I'm trying to think. So you need to get $1,000 before you move out. I've always been terrible at budgeting money.
Right.
What's the job interview for?
Oh, and it's gonna be a trigger for real.
Is it really?
Yeah, because it's gonna be a clothing store.
Okay.
And like I'm really bad at shopping, but so I talked to Honesty, and Honesty is gonna help me with like budgeting and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a learning experience.
So how do you so she's going to help you with that,
Mhm.
but how do you avoid some of that cross addiction stuff? Because I know in meetings all the time, dudes talk about, well, I don't use anymore, but I buy all these shoes still.
Exactly.
I'll drop $300 a week on shoes. So it's like, all right, you're just trading one thing out for the other. How do you prevent that from happening?
Well, like I speak about what my problems are, and like especially the girls in the house because some of them like to shop too. So I've been like going to the store with them and like, okay, well, I'm not gonna buy anything, and we're gonna work through this together. And like I put myself in that situation to kind of work through it, and it's been pretty successful. But
so like holding people accountable and
yeah.
saying you don't need that.
Yeah.
Maybe lying to them and saying like it doesn't look good on you.
No, you can't lie to them because trying to be honest. But it's just like we work together. Like there's a group of us that like we really are like working together, and we're gonna get this right this time. And we're like even like late night step working sessions, and like it's I don't know, like I get to choose my family this time.
Whoa.
And like I really am, and I'm not just picking whoever like makes me feel good or who gives me what I want in that moment. I pick people that are going to hold me accountable and going to call me on my stuff and not co-sign my stuff. And like it's been working for me.
Mm-hmm. And be able to support you when you're struggling.
Yeah.
When you're out shopping, when you're trying to save money. Like, I totally get that. Have you found any other sort of, maybe not trigger is the right word, but some sort of cross addiction stuff? Because I know that you're looking at a new career to try to avoid that sort of thing. Do you still have that kind of like hindsight of maybe I could always fall on that? Like I convinced myself that I can bartend on the weekends for some quick cash.
Yeah.
I won't apply to a job, but I'll just get on Indeed and look at all of them real quick.
Right.
Well, actually the job that I'm starting on Monday is what my strong point is, because I did retail for 20 some years.
Okay.
And so, I knew that I could wouldn't have a problem getting a job because of my experience in the years that I did it. So by all means, I had to use that to go to work. I'm just trying to tip lightly with it and not get stuck doing it, So I know I'm going to have to do the school and start the new career, but you always have to use some stuff in your toolbox that can help you. So it's just, and being at the time of the year it is, I knew I wouldn't have a hard time finding a job in retail because it is the shopping time of the year. So
see, and that's you brought up something that's very interesting. It's using the old tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I've found that there are certain things that I'm good at that aren't exactly the most like spiritual things.
Right.
Like I can be manipulative and I can use them to get what I want. And being in certain roles and scenarios in recovery, I feel like it's good for him and it's good for me if I'm just a little bit manipulative. Have you found like any of those sort of character traits where you have to either completely get rid of them or you can kind of still use stuff even though it might not be the most spiritual? Like I'll lie to someone to protect their feelings from them sometimes or because it's I don't know, none of your business.
Right.
If I'm being straight up.
Like for me, that's where I had to, like I worked with my sponsor about it with like my boundaries.
Okay.
Because
that's a tough one. That's not, people don't think about that often, I don't think.
Because like I'm sometimes, especially because the first 28 days, it was like feelings overload and express everything, let it out. And plus I was like a hot mess emotionally because just didn't know what I was feeling. And then now it's more like okay, everything ain't for everybody. And like, you got to pick and choose like some things you just share with your sponsor. Some things are okay to share at a meeting. Something, you know what I mean? So like, I've had to learn that, okay, I'm not necessarily lying. I'm not being manipulative. I'm just choosing not to put it out in this venture or however you want to put that.
No, that's great advice.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone needs to know everything,
Right. Because, like, if
let alone all my stuff.
exactly, but like as long as I get it out, like my sponsor, like that, I can tell her anything. Like, and I'm grateful for that because, like, it took me a minute to find a sponsor. Like, I got turned down like 3 times, but it all worked out. Like, my sponsor is who she's supposed to be, and that's perfect. But everything's for her, but like everything else ain't for everybody. And I had to learn that because I would be like an open book. I'd be like, well, this is going on and da 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 and da 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 da. But I learned to fall back and like, okay, but that's not really me being manipulative. That's me protecting myself and
Protecting your recovery
Yeah.
and your vulnerability sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, finding that line of being able to be honest and not end up isolating and internalizing things can be really difficult. How do you find that line, Cindy, of being able to kind of like share what you need to with your sponsor? That's like the perfect person who can hear like everything a lot of times. But there are other times where I feel like I know what they're going to say. So I don't even think it's necessary
you figure out really
to.
quick what they're going to say and how they feel about certain things. But a lot of times now, what I share in meetings is even though I just started recovery in August, I came in with a lot of clean time. So my brain is at a really good point of making better judgment calls, better decisions. And, I try to encourage everybody, it does get better. Don't give up. Your mind starts getting a whole lot clearer. And so I think that's, a big thing that I like to share with everyone is, just let the process work, And
Sometimes because what I maybe not everyone needs to know my business, but maybe someone's struggling with the exact same thing I can struggle. I'm struggling with and needs that message of hope. So maybe it's very selfish for me to hold on to it because it makes me feel better when someone else could benefit from it.
Right.
Not necessarily help me, but maybe I could help them. That's interesting. Kind of just thought, thanks for helping me out, ladies. So before we wrap up, I wanted to know what you're grateful for today, Ashley.
I'm grateful that I said yes to something.
Are you less nervous now?
Yes.
Good.
I'm grateful that I said yes. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What are you grateful for, Cindy?
I am grateful that I am here, that I got the opportunity to come here because I could have easily had to stay where I was before, which wasn't good. And just the fact that I'm very big about my family and just making them proud because finally we found something that's working, and that's huge. Just seeing them happy.
Aw.
Because I really worried my family to death. And I'm very blessed that I have that relationship. Like so many people come here and they've ruined so many of their family relationships. I was fortunate. I never lost the support of my family. So it's good to finally give back.
They didn't have to burn those bridges.
Right. And I can only imagine what some people go through with the fact that they don't have that support from their family. And I have 150% support from my family, and that's awesome. So
I bet they're very proud of you.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Todd.
I am grateful. There's another Todd in the room that no one can see. He's invisible. No, I've not cloned myself, but we have a guy.
You had to get so much work done. You just made another Todd.
No, with hair.
With hair.
With hair, as opposed to my no hair. But no, I'm grateful for the other Todd in the room. So that made it a lot easier with trying to do the camera work. I was trying to do like the one-man show, like the one-man band that's got the drum and the
harmonica hanging around the neck.
So that made it a heck of a lot easier. I'm grateful for that. So,
that's cool, man. Other Todd, we're happy to have you, buddy. I'm grateful to be here. I needed this. I was dealing with some personal stuff, and I honestly didn't want to do this. And I'm very, very glad it helped. You two helped me out just talking through some stuff that you didn't even know that I was kind of dealing with. So I really appreciate having y'all on.
Awesome.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you for making it easy on us
Yes.
because we were nervous coming in here.
I told you,
But
it's just a
working
little
with you,
chit chat.
Alex, is great.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like a sense of comfortability. So,
Yeah.
we'll definitely do this again. Maybe another check-in a month or two from now,
Yeah.
and see how y'all are continuing to progress. This has been Get in the Herd. Peace out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Honesty Liller. I am the CEO of the McShin Foundation and a woman in long-term recovery. Since May 27, 2007, I have not used drugs or alcohol. Woo woo! Thank you so much to the Richmond Times-Dispatch and all of our voters for Get in the Herd podcast. Those podcasts are amazing. Not only has it helped thousands upon thousands of people in their recovery, as well as family members, but it has helped me in my personal recovery. I get to listen to them now in my car through Spotify and iHeartRadio. And it's just really, really important for us to be innovative in the addiction field and the recovery community. So when COVID hit, we had to be innovative. We really had to think of what can we do to reach people that cannot go to 12-step meetings, smart recovery, faith-based, whatever, that we're shutting down constantly. So we were innovative here at McShin. Let's start podcast. So with Todd, John, Alex, and some other staff, we all just kind of jumped in who can do what. And with Todd's lead and John's lead, the podcasts have been amazing and we're still doing them today. So I want to thank you for all of your votes and all of your energy and all of your support of our mission of healing families and saving lives. Thanks.